From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
A community effort to spread a little holiday cheer.
It gives them a chance and it just makes you feel good when you do it.
How this fair is helping give back at Christmas time. What can we expect from today's supply and demand report?
Maybe the funds would at least go along and push this market up.
As President-elect Trump's talk of tariffs heats up.
They're going away. They're going away because they don't want to be dependent on the United States. They view us as their adversary.
The impact that could have on trade with China right now on AgDay.
AgDay is brought to you by Pioneer.
Ben's bins, please hold.
Yeah, Ben's has been busy all day.
Seems like no one can keep up with this new Z series. What did you all put in these feeds?
Science.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. President-elect Trump has pledged that on his first day in office, he would impose 25% tariffs on all goods imported from Canada and Mexico. That is, unless those countries work to stop illegal immigration and illegal drugs. Now, he has also threatened additional tariffs on China as a way to force that country to crack down on fentanyl production. Now, Mr. Trump discussing possible additional tariffs in a one-on-one interview with Kristen Welker on NBC's Meet the Press. He said he didn't believe economists' predictions that added costs on imported goods for American companies would lead to higher prices for U.S. consumers.
I'm a big believer in tariffs. I think tariffs are the most beautiful word. I think they're beautiful. It's going to make us rich. We're subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion. We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state. We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fast, but fair playing field.
AgDay's Michelle Rook joins me. Michelle, President Trump last week made key appointments to his trade team, many who plan to take a more aggressive approach, especially with Beijing.
Clinton, there is still some uncertainty and opinions are mixed on the Trump administration's trade agenda. Now, some in the industry say the U.S. is headed for a trade war with countries like China, while others still believe tariffs are just a leverage tool for achieving better trade agreements that will increase export business. The problem is, even if the latter is true, farmers will have to endure some pain before they can realize the gain. Rural America supported the re-election of President Trump in a historic way, despite tariff threats. But one past American Soybean Association president thinks tariffs may push the U.S. into a bigger trade war with China.
I really do, and I think that's very serious, especially for agriculture.
He says since the initial trade war, the U.S. has diversified but is still dependent on China, especially for soybean trade.
You can't lose your number one customer and just easily backfill. It drives down prices.
In the first 2 years of the trade spat from 2018 to 2020, China cut U.S. soybean purchases more than 50%. And under the Phase 1 deal, China only bought around 1.1 billion bushels each year. And Met says China has diversified since then.
They've been spending significant amounts of money in Brazil, helping with those logistics, and they certainly could decide they're not going to trade with us anymore.
Political Speaker Damian Mason has been warning China didn't fulfill the Phase 1 deal and has been steadily buying less from the U.S. He doesn't believe the Trump administration will be able to use tariffs to reach another agreement.
China never wanted to be our long-term customer. They want to be our replacement, both economically and militarily. They're going away. They're going away because they don't want to be dependent on the United States. They view us as their adversary.
But some economists argue China needs the U.S.
Could China cut us out of their supply chain for soybean? And the short answer is, well, they probably could from a volume standpoint, but the challenge is going to be from a costing standpoint. They could do that physically. The question is, it's going to be much more expensive to do that.
When it comes to Canada and Mexico, Metz doesn't see a trade war brewing, and in fact thinks tariffs instead are being used for leverage.
I don't believe as much. Again, they are truly our next door neighbors.
So Mason says the U.S. should beef up USMCA as Mexico is already the top export customer.
They now are almost as big of a customer, 30 billion, as China ever was at its peak. And there's no ocean to traverse, and there's some little bit of scrape over the immigration of the cartels, but we don't have near the adversarial relationship with Mexico as we do with China. So I think our hope is with a really strong USMCA, Canada, China, Canada and Mexico can ultimately maybe replace China.
I'm Michelle Rourke reporting for AgDay.
All right, thanks, Michelle. Meanwhile, the current Congress has less than 2 weeks to take action on a host of bills, including a possible continuing resolution. Now, Farm Journal Washington analyst Jim Wiesmeyer says a one-year extension on the 2018 Farm Bill may possibly be attached to a continuing resolution, along with a possible increase in reference prices and language regarding financial aid to the ag sector. However, some conservative Republicans say any increase in spending must be offset by budget cuts elsewhere, but Wiesmeyer says there could be enough Democratic votes to offset House conservatives. Meanwhile, a disaster aid package, including agriculture, is widely expected, with the total amount still being considered. Meanwhile, the Senate has passed its version of the Federal Disaster Tax Relief Act. It would provide aid for victims of hurricanes, but also provide tax relief for cattle producers who receive payments due to wildfires. Previously, those payments counted as taxable income. The bill also retroactively applies to any wildfire payments received in tax years 2020 through 2025. As USDA takes additional steps to try and stamp out avian flu in dairy cattle, the virus continues to take its toll on commercial poultry operations. The Iowa Department of Agriculture reporting a detection of HPAI in a flock of commercial layer chickens in Sioux County. It marks the state's first detection since June. It's also reporting H5N1 in a commercial turkey flock in Palo Alto County. Cases were also recently reported in Merced County, California, involving more than 1 million chickens at a commercial table egg layer, along with a commercial duck meat operation in San Joaquin and a commercial turkey meat operation in Sacramento. A break from the colder temperatures in the Midwest won't be lasting long. Meteorologist Alyssa Heilman has an update for us.
That warm was around for a couple days, but cold air is moving in to parts of the Midwest. We're seeing temperatures here this afternoon dropping from that 40, 50 we were seeing in parts of the Midwest. Just 35 there in Chicago, 39 in Omaha, 41 in St. Louis, 52 in Cincinnati. Still seeing some of those warm conditions, but of course you see that cold air is moving that way. Seeing the cold air overnight especially. Look at that bright pink, the purple. That's that cold air. It's an Arctic low that's moving south into the United States, bringing cold temperatures. And of course, where that's sitting, you can see -2 in Minneapolis, -3 in Bismarck, a little bit to the south of it, just 11 in Omaha. And then going into tomorrow again, you're seeing that cold temperature, that low sticks around, keeps that very cold temperature as it's moving further south and a little bit east. Chicago just 29 for their temperature tomorrow, Minneapolis just 13, Bismarck 7, 25 Omaha. So very cold temperatures as that low comes down into parts of the United States. And another beautiful start to the morning in Manhattan, Illinois. Dave Castell capturing the spectacular sunrise to start the day. Thanks for sharing, Dave. I'll have more on your forecast coming up.
Happening later today, USDA will release its latest supply-demand report. While last month's report offered up some surprises with a lower corn and soybean yield and lower ending stocks, this month USDA is unlikely to make supply-side changes, and if they tweak the balance sheets, it will come on the demand side. Average trade guesses on ending stocks are nearly unchanged from November for both soybeans and wheat. However, there are expectations for lower corn carryouts due to stronger demand.
There's a chance with an increase in demand, USDA lowers our ending stock below 1.9 billion. And I think that would kind of generate a little bit of bullish enthusiasm. Maybe the funds would at least go long and push this market up.
Now, he says the wild card is if USDA factors in the negative impact possible tariffs would have on exports. Those numbers will be released at noon Eastern. Look for a complete breakout of what they mean over at agweb.com and reaction tomorrow morning on Ag Day. Livestock markets pushed higher on Monday while soybeans were under pressure. We'll have more to the start of the trading week coming up next in Markets Now. And later, taking in the sights and smells of holiday baking while giving Santa a little help. We'll take you to this unique shop in Tennessee in the country.
Ag Day is brought to you by Pivot Bio. Protect yield potential with a new mode of action in nitrogen. See how Pivot Bio fits into your fertility plan at talknitrogen.com.
There are reports that a global snack food company may be interested in buying a well-known American chocolate company. Bloomberg reporting Mondelez International is looking into acquiring Hershey's. Bloomberg says the deliberations are in the early stages and there is no guarantee they will lead to a deal. Now, this isn't the first time Mondelez has attempted to buy the company out. Back in 2016, it abandoned a plan to buy Hershey's after Hershey's rejected a $23 billion takeover bid. Markets were mixed to start the week. AgDay's Michelle Rook is back with more on what the markets will be watching ahead of today's supply-demand report.
Grains ending mixed to start the week, and Arlen Suderman is back with analysis. All right, Arlen, corn and wheat futures to the plus side on Monday. Was that short covering, do you think, or were we trying to put in a little bit of geopolitical risk premium?
I would call it value buying. Price is low enough that end users see some opportunity to extend some coverage in here, especially in the wheat market right now with some of the problems with Russia's crop. We won't know how significant those problems in Russia are until the spring. We see what kind of winter they have and what kind of spring they have, but it's enough to provide some support into the market right now. And millers see greater upside risk than downside risk when you're at these low price levels. And corn export demand is strong. Producer selling is pretty weak now ahead of the new tax year. And so that's allowing us to drift higher.
So what do you think about corn? With the report today, will we see USDA adjust exports up and ending stocks down on corn?
I would anticipate that we'll see an upward tick in exports. I think that they'll be somewhat cautious on us. When you look at the export sales pace right now, it's about 280 million bushels above the seasonal pace needed to hit USDA's target. But the bulk of that gain is into unknown destinations, probably resellers that are just kind of buying up supplies at marketing year prices, probably front loading. But I still think that when you look at our shipment pace and how long it's going to be before we have competition on the world market, that some increase of 25, maybe 50 million bushels is justified.
So soybeans struggled. Did we run up into chart resistance again, or is this just about South America?
South America, big crop coming, and it's a futures market, and we're going to be starting harvest of that crop in Brazil here in the next several weeks. And so it's about to hit the market already. Brazilian soybeans with their cheap currency are cheaper than U.S. beans for shipment to China in January. So we're already starting to face some of that competition going forward.
Is export business going to shut off after the first of the year?
Except for those customers where we have a freight advantage. Yeah, I think it's really going to drop off.
Thanks so much, Arlen Suderman with StoneX. We'll have more AgDay coming up.
Watch Markets Now with Michelle Rook on the Farm Journal YouTube channel, keeping you updated throughout the day on the markets at the open, midday, and close. Find out what moved the markets today and what to expect the market to do next.
Starting here with a look at the jet stream, because of that cold air that we know is moving into parts of the Great Lakes and into the Midwest, that cold Arctic low, you're seeing it sitting up there today, still in very northern parts of the United States and then into Canada. As we advance this going later, you see that dip, a very strong dip in the jet stream. That's a strong trough that's moving into the Great Lakes, into the Midwest, bringing very cold temperatures for your midweek. After we just saw very warm temperatures for Sunday, for Monday in parts of the Midwest. So seeing that dip Wednesday, that continues to move a little bit south and then east after that going into Thursday, as well as those very strong contours in the jet stream, which is going to bring some very strong winds, especially across the Great Lake, which is then bringing some lake effect snow to parts of the Great Lakes states. So some cold air and then some lake effect because of the strong winds that are coming along with that rather deep trough that's moving throughout the United States. And then we get a setup here of some rather warm temperatures. We're seeing a rather dominant high pressure system, a rather dominant ridge sitting across the United States, bringing strong temperatures starting Friday into the weekend for most of the United States, and that's really sticking around. You're not seeing any dips there, any of that cold air, any of that blue that would indicate some cold temperatures. Now we are taking a look here at what we are expecting the precipitation outlook to be December 16th to the 22nd, seeing pretty normal conditions for most of the eastern half of the United States, a little bit dry in some parts here of the western half of the United States, a little bit wet wetter than normal on parts of the Pacific Northwest and down into Texas as well. Temperature outlook for that same time, 16th to the 22nd. Really, most of the United States is expected to be above normal, have some warmer temperatures than they would usually see for this time of year in December. Now we are looking at Cleveland, Mississippi. That is showers there, high of 85, low of 67. Then Clovis, New Mexico, 44, 23. Finally, Berlin, New Hampshire, 79, 47.
AgDay is brought to you by Germinator Closing Wheels. Germinator Closing Wheels provide quicker emergence and are more consistent in dry conditions than any other closing wheels. Order 12 to 16 rows today and qualify for free shipping or 20% off an end zone moisture management package.
It looks like dairy consumption is back on the rise. The National Milk Producers Federation says that according to new USDA numbers, U.S. per capita dairy consumption returned to 1950s levels last year. It says that's due to record cheese use, along with gains in butter, cottage cheese, and yogurt. It's reporting Americans are consuming 661 pounds of milk per person. And officials say cottage cheese consumption is at its highest in a decade. Yogurt is also rising. And this is a big week for the dairy business with the annual Milk Business Conference taking place in Las Vegas. The conference starts today at Caesars Palace, and AgDay and U.S. Farm Report will be there. So look for coverage from the event along with profiles of this year's award winners. And you see them listed on your screen. Our best young producer, Perry Baton of Baton Dairy in New Franken, Wisconsin. The Leader in Technology Award to Gino Source in Blairstown, Iowa. And Joaquin Vasquez of Verclar Farms in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. We'll be on the road with coverage from the conference starting tomorrow morning on AgDay. Coming up, an entire community is helping to make Christmas special for kids in need. How a little holiday shopping is going a long way in the country. Most of us have found that giving at the holiday to those in need makes the season a little brighter for everyone. And this includes making sure some children have toys under their tree. Charles Denny of the University of Tennessee has more on one effort that gives Santa a little help.
The strong bond of a community during the holidays. At this crafts fair, you can find decorations, festive art, and plenty of miniature Santa Clauses. But browsing all these pretty items can increase your appetite. The local Family and Community Education Club makes meals and desserts to please hungry shoppers. FCE club members like Sarah Hillis donate their time and their cooking skills to prepare and sell foods at the crafts fair, with proceeds going back into the community at Christmas and year-round.
What we do is we do the food program in the back and stuff, and we put all that money into our account, and then during the year we'll have different people that'll kind of ask for different things that they need in the community and stuff. One of the projects that we do is that we support the 4-H.
This crafts fair gives local artisans a market for their work, and it's an opportunity for the people in Van Buren County to spend their holiday dollars right here in their community.
Paula May is a Family and Consumer Sciences agent with UT Extension in Van Buren County and helps coordinate the FCE Club's work. This event has become a 4-decade Christmas tradition here in Spencer, and May says it's a chance for FCE to team with local craft makers.
But they come here, they have worked hard all year to prepare for this day. They look forward to it. Some even say, well, we're going to start now for next year.
4-H'ers like Brooke Hitchcock also partner with FCE in this Santa shop, where they collect toys for children in need. Kids love helping other kids, and Brooke says she gets a lot out of this too.
Because it helps the families that are in need and can't really give their kids a Christmas. It gives them a chance and it just makes you feel good when you do it.
It is. It takes everybody in the community to pull these events off because they are very big and they are very impactful to our citizens.
Shopping local and spending generously, and the gathering of toys. both examples of what Christmas spirit really means. One of the best ways to celebrate the season is to make sure others enjoy it too. This is Charles Denny reporting.
All right, thanks, Charles. And that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day on the farm.